What about the human right of a woman not to be raped? I mean, what about the human right of kids to, to play or to be free or to, go to the park? And what about the human right to live? Or the human right to walk in the street, right? But no, they were worried about the human rights of the killers. But
damn straight. Love you guys. Hope you're having a good day today. Let's get to it. I'm just going to make sure my signal, it looks like we're up and running. Sweet. It's Wednesday. I will be gone Friday. I've got my 20th anniversary with my wife. We're keeping it low key. We're going to South Padre Island, and we're gonna walk on the beach and look at where starships blast off. But yeah, and stay at a resort and just chill for a little bit. I hope you guys take breaks too and just get away from all the chaos. There's plenty of it out there. We have a lot to talk about today. I say that every single time, but today is a real big one. We're going to be talking a lot about the government because I don't think people realize how quickly things are moving and what's all happening. So we're going to roll through that as quickly as we possibly can. Good morning, everybody. Throw out any questions that you have in chat, okay? Good morning from Arizona. Awesome. Padre, nice. Go there with the wife's family often. I don't know what to do there outside of check out some SpaceX stuff and hang out at a luxury resort and just chill. But yeah, so if you have any ideas, throw them out there. I put the Overton window is shifting. This administration will be known for importing for only importing immigrants that benefit this country. Why wasn't it always this way? I'm loving what we're putting out for the messaging right now in regard to immigration. It has changed so much. And today we're going to be talking about a lot of wins that the current administration is having because there's so many. It's hard to keep up. What's going on in Minnesota is fucking insane. It's going to be known as one of the biggest political scandals in that state's history. And out of any state in the country, it's going to be fucking insane. I want to listen real quickly to Treasury Secretary Bessent talk about how we're doing the three key things they wanted to do, bringing interest rates down, and then again, helping Americans with their jobs, getting rid of illegal immigration, just all the things that are needed to make this country great again, and that we're going to start seeing the impacts of in 2026.
And you came in, immigration, I called it the three I's, immigration, interest rates, and inflation, that were killing the American people. Close the border, the promise kept. Interest rates are down, and 10-year bond, again, best year since 2020, and inflation led by energy prices is going to roll next year. I think it's going to be a fantastic year. We can look back, be very proud of this year, but I think 2026 is going to be great for the American people. Thanks, Steve. It's going to be great.
And there is so much happening right now. We're going to cover all of it. Real quickly. So not much going on in South Padre this time of year. That's actually probably perfect. I just want to chill anyway. I can stay at a luxury resort. I can get pampered. I can go to a spa with the wife. I can eat good food. I can walk on the beach. I can get as close as I can in Starbase City to where they launch starships. I don't know. That's plenty for me. I think the wife and I will be quite happy. It's only 4 days. Real quickly. So Somalis. I live pretty close to Minnesota. I go to Minneapolis quite often, and I can tell you it's a shit show. It's turned into a third world country. We found out now, evidently, that 50% of the Somalis that have been imported into the state, I think they've got 150,000 right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. But half of them were committing fraud. Half. This is also some young Somali men randomly just beating the shit out of people on the streets downtown. Okay, hit the woman here in a second, I think. Yep, smacked her in the back of the head. Cool. Yeah, fuck these people. Here they are getting deported starting yesterday. Here is FBI agents walking out with massive amounts of boxes of evidence for all the fucking people that are going to prison in the state of Minnesota. Tim Waltz and Ilan Omar maybe being some of those. Real quickly, get tacos at Longboards Bar and Grill. All right, done. I'm going to make that happen. All right. So yeah, we're going to be, shit is going down right now. Shit is going down in the state of Minnesota. I hope you guys realize what's all happening. There's so many things this administration's doing. And at the same time, again, we called it yesterday and recently here, saying that the bottom was already in. And it is. We're sitting at Bitcoin 93,000. We're getting ready to break up towards 96. Once we get above there and stay there, it's good times again. And then we're headed off to 130. Oh, by the way, here's probably another fucking terrorist that I wouldn't be surprised at all. Look at this motherfucker. Illegal immigrant. At the very least, he should be in a fucking prison. He lit another person on fire in New York City because that's the cool new thing to do. If you're in Chicago and New York, light people on fire. Fucking awesome. We're getting rid of these people. And maybe if illegal aliens weren't our police, like in Hanover Park, Illinois, maybe if we didn't have illegal aliens that weren't supposed to be here policing our fucking cities, they'd be safer. We also have the Small Business Administration has officially launched a full investigation into Somali organizations defrauding taxpayers through SBA loans in Tim Walz, Minnesota. Tim Walz had a bunch of whistleblowers that tried to say something. He did things like firing people, demoting people, and threatening people. So he's 100% implicated in this. This man is done. Byron Donalds drops truth bomb. House passed the SAVE Act twice, 235 days ago and again now, to stop illegals from voting. Senate cowards won't bring it up, nuke the filibuster, and pass the SAVE Act. We need to nuke the filibuster. It needs to be gone. Breaking, the U.S. Department of Justice sued the state of Minnesota. So we got the DOJ, we got the Small Business Administration, we got a bunch, but they're doing this to get voter registration lists. It's not just Minnesota they're doing this to. They're doing it to 21 states, 20 additional states like Illinois, like New York City or New York State, California. They're all getting this too. They either give the voter registration lists or they stop receiving all government aid, including SNAP. So all the states got back SNAP, right? Well, if they don't give these registration lists so we know how many illegal immigrants are in each one of these states so that we can target them accordingly, if they don't do that, if they don't show us how many illegal immigrants are voting, then we have the filibuster option, and also we can stop withholding all funds. Imagine getting your SNAP benefits back in the state of California or New York or wherever, right? And it's the entire states that are going to get this, not just the blue cities. So imagine how much they're going to piss off people that get SNAP, especially legitimate people. There's people that really that deserve these things, getting cut off again because they refuse to show what's going on in the state. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. I wouldn't want to be in that position if I was the Democratic Party right now. I'd be fucking crying. Dallas County, Texas, switches to all paper ballots. Beautiful. We're doing so many good things right now in this country. It's amazing. Here's a Somalian in Minnesota trying to bribe $200,000 worth of cash to prevent them from getting, tried for fraud and having to pay back tons and tons of money. So bribery to circumvent fraud. Beautiful. Keep it up, Minnesota. Stay classy. Here, this dumb-looking fucking... Is she, not the stereotype of what every liberal, crazy fucking woman looks like? Is she not it? Like the dark glasses, the butch cut hair. Anyway, Hennepin County, Minnesota attorney Mayor Moriarty is fuming that Trump is cracking down on Somalian crime and Somalian illegals. This is the same lady who released a twice-convicted Somali rapist with no jail time who was just arrested again for raping somebody. These liberal bitches love for young girls to get raped by illegal immigrants. They get off on it. I don't know why. But this lady's fucked. All these people are fucked. We're going after all of them. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. And then we'll talk about that rapist a little bit here too. But here's back to good stuff. I said this is such a big deal. So this is the Trump account. We're going to have every newborn American in this fucking country get Trump accounts. On top of that, and I've got to look into the details a little bit more. If you guys know them better than I do, let me know. Let me actually look at this real quick. President Trump just announced tens of millions of children will be receiving up to $1,000 each, funded by a donation from Michael Dell as seed money for from the Trump admin for this new program, Trump Accounts. Dell has donated $6.25 billion. First off, his wife has crazy eyes, dude. She should not be putting that dark eyeshadow on. We'll talk about that in a minute because that's important. But this is cool. This is cool. These are billionaires. Just think about this. Think about this. Think about a narrative change that's coming into play right now. You have Brad Gerstner, who was the person who was relentless at trying to create this program. He was the driving force. And then you have Michael Dell and his wife, who are giving $6.25 billion to this program so that every person in the United States of America will start to look at the markets as something that benefits them, because these kids will get these accounts and their parents can contribute $5,000 a year, tax-deferred shit. This kid turns 18, they have access to these funds. Imagine how much better. Imagine how much more capitalistic. Imagine how much more devoted to their country people are going to be if, instead of robbing them, because the bottom 30 to 40% of America don't get any benefit to the inflation that occurs, that instead they're a part of it. They're a part of they don't get fucking left behind anymore. We're going to do tons of things to raise their wages, and at the exact same fucking time, we're not leaving people behind anymore. We're bringing you up too. And the best part of this is that it's billionaires doing it. And then they were encouraging other people to invest in this too, so that we can increase the amount that's being given. And it's billionaires providing to the social programs of the future. What a narrative change. What a narrative change in our society when people start to look at billionaires as things to be looked up to, and the people that are helping them have a better life and not being left behind anymore. What a narrative change. I love it. If you guys are with me, let me know in chat. Also, this was one of the only things I've been complaining about. There's a few. There's solar and battery systems. Trump still needs to fucking come around to that, but I think he will, because he came around to Jared Isaacman, right? This was the person that everybody wants. 36 former NASA astronauts signed a letter urging the Senate to confirm this man instead of the transportation secretary. Elon Musk said it. Everybody said it. And he's doing it. He's doing the right thing in the end. And I think that's the thing that sets Trump apart from a lot of other people. And I hate to say this, because I hated this motherfucker a year ago. Actually, about a year ago, I probably liked him. 15 months ago, I hated this motherfucker. I hated Donald Trump. I didn't want him to do well. But then I converted because I finally saw the truth. And a lot of that movement was because of people like Elon Musk and X. And I appreciate it. But I actually believe that this man will probably be one of the greatest presidents in the history of this nation. And I think people don't understand it yet. But they will. They will. And oh yeah, by the way, the state of Minnesota, the money, the $1 billion+ fucking dollars that were taken from all the fraud that the 50% of the Somalians were doing. Some of this money was literally going to a terrorist organization in Somalia. So Tim Walz not only negligently allowed $1 billion worth of federal and state programs, more than that, to go towards fraud to help support the Somali community, and then tried to cover it up, but he's also a funder of terrorism. Probably not going to turn out well for him, I would imagine. There's so much more. Again, crime is done by the smallest amount of individuals, like a very small number of just repeating individuals that are committing crimes. Once you go past, probably like you could argue anywhere to 3 to 5 times of just repeat criminals, especially violent crime, it's like 3 max. And if it's really violent, like fuck it. But it just keeps happening. And if you look here, look at this. Another fucking Muslim that shouldn't be in this country, born in Pakistan, who wanted to be a martyr, was arrested just yesterday outside of the University of Delaware. Why? He was found with a manifesto and multiple guns, including automatic weapons, Uzis, and a blueprint of the university police station. He told police he wanted to be a martyr, and he went there to murder people. Why the fuck are these people in our country? But hey, not for long, guys, because everybody wanted Trump to be crazy. Oh, by the way, the crazy.
Absolutely.
I told you it was important that we talked about these crazy eyes. We have this in front of you. But I do got to say this. I'm willing to overlook crazy eyes if the person has a good heart and they're doing the right things to help America. So if she would just adjust, the eyebrows are a little strong, I feel like. You guys tell me. And the eyeshadow is bringing out her green eyes and makes her look like a crazy fucking doll that would murder you at nighttime. But they're doing something amazing for this country, so we can overlook it, right? And she needs to blink every once in a while. But again, she's probably a very nice person. And Michael Dell is obviously a good person because he's married to this woman. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, here we go.
This is really exciting.
Absolutely. It's a very special moment. We're making a $6.25 billion investment in America's kids through our charitable funds.
Next year, every American child will be able to get an investment account powered by Invest America.
We've seen what happens when a child gets even a small financial head start. Their world expands.
The real power of these accounts is that anyone can contribute. Parents, relatives, friends, everyone.
That is fucking insane too. Now, again, I'm sorry, I'm having a little fun here, but she seems like, don't get me wrong. If you just adjusted, I'm like pointing here, like you can see it. If you just adjusted the eyebrow coloring that I think is going on and the dark eyeshadow, she would look way more normal. So I'm just giving her a hard time. But this is amazing, right? So think about this, guys. And nobody's talking about this, and it blows my fucking mind. Crazy Eyes over here was just talking about how anyone can contribute to this. So your grandmother, instead of giving you $100 in a fucking Christmas card, can contribute to this account. Your parents can contribute to this account. And you can get this money when you turn 18. And they're saying, like, based on previous returns and projecting out something similar in nature, that the average 18-year-old could have $170,000 when they turn 18. Like, seriously? Can you imagine how much better that sets the children of tomorrow versus the kids of today that are going into the workforce and trying to do something with their life? It's so much better. It's so much better. And again, we'll skip Crazy Eyes here. This is the gist of it, right? Parents, relatives, friends can all contribute to your account. It accrues tax deferred. At 18, you have access to it, and you can start an amazing life. I wish this would have been around when I was a kid. I have done nothing but the school of hard knocks. I was poor. My family was homeless at different times when I was younger, trying to figure out where we were going to go next. We lived with our grandmother for over a year when we came to the city that we were living in now, while my dad worked hard to try and reestablish us in a different place. So I would have loved this. And this is what keeps the revolt from happening, and this is what keeps people happy, and this is what changes the perception of what success means in the future. It's not just a shallow fucking Lambo or a Ferrari. It's the changing the world and making it better. ADP falls 32,000. I think that's great. Thank you for that, by the way. I think that will just end up helping the narrative that we need to lower rates. And the market so far, we'll just keep an eye on it. I'm just looking at a few different things to see where we're at. So I have a bead for where we're going to be later, and it looks good. I think it's good. Let's keep going, though. There's a lot to cover. But thank you for that, since I'm not too focused today. I really, really appreciate that. Andrew also said, I predict billionaires will randomly donate over the years. Well, dude, why wouldn't you? And think about this. The trifecta, quadfecta, octofecta. I don't even fucking know anymore. Think about this. What if, with tax incentives, they switch things around to where donations are more lucrative for the person who donates, and then they tell people to donate to funds like this one? Just think about the perception that people are going to get when all of a sudden next year they get a bigger tax refund and they're told to adjust down to increase their paychecks. And you've got things like this firing off for people that are having new kids, and everything else that's going on, which there's so many things, too many to mention anymore. I just feel redundant, like going a dozen, 20. I don't even know what the list just keeps growing. Dustin says, it keeps getting worse for Tim Walz, as Transportation Secretary Duffy says that 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled CDLs were issued illegally. So now we have 1/3 of CDLs. So the Department of Transportation is after these guys. The Department of Justice is after these guys. The Small Business Administration is after these guys, and more. Over 400 Minnesota Department of Human Resources employees blame Democratic Governor Tim Walz for massive fraud in Somali community. Current staff members say the governor has systematically retaliated against whistleblowers. This is damning. Now, the terrorist in Texas trying to kill everybody. Guess what? He's a fucking Muslim. Who knew? If I'm murdered by a Muslim, you'll know why. And don't get me wrong. There are Muslims that are good people, I think, and that are becoming more like Christians that changed from, burn homosexuals at the stake to you can come to church. So I think there's a transition in the Muslim community too, in places like Saudi Arabia and other places. They still don't allow other religions. So, I mean, it's not that great, but they're becoming more westernized. They're getting rid of burqas. They're banning Muslim Brotherhood. I think there's good guys out there, right? But unfortunately, a lot of the ones that are immigrating here are not those people. But I do think all of that's getting ready to change. Right here, Geiger Capital, this is unreal. Trump has hit a breaking point. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the U.S. system to fully recover and deport any foreign national who is a public charge, security risk, or non-compatible with Western civilization. And I don't know. If you're calling death to America and saying Allah Akbar, I think that fucking counts. Fuck you. Anyway, we're on fire today, guys. I'm giving you Wednesday's episode and Friday's today just with the amount of attitude that you're getting. So this is a fun one. 7:20 right now. We got an hour and 10 before market opens. Bitcoin therapist, holy shit, Mike Alfred, my boy Mike Alfred. I used to hate this guy. Now I love him. Breaking, Donald Trump, Scott Bessent, and allies are working on a multi-step plan to bolster Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and stablecoins with simultaneously defunding JP Morgan, the Fed, and the U.S. This is true, and this isn't top secret stuff. And sorry, this one's a little old. It's about a week. But I thought it was a good one because this is what is happening, and this is literally what the Trump administration has told you that they're doing. Silver's at 59. I think it's getting toppy. I think gold is too. And what I'm loving, I actually posted this earlier today. Here's what I love right now. What I love right now is that the Bitcoin to gold ratio looks like it had a W bottom. I love that so much. Love that so much, guys. Right there, that little W. That little W. Get back up here to resistance here. What was previous support here and then was resistance over here. We want to get up to that 24 level. Start pushing up against that bitch. But once we do that, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's a clear indication that we're back to where we need to be. And I think actually I'm going to redraw this because sometimes resistance and support levels become more clear as time goes on. Like you can't always see what things are going to be, and there's always multiple versions of reality. But that's how we predict the future, right? We try and figure out the most probable, and we update our thesis as we go. But I do think, I think 24, and again, right up here, we'll have resistance. Once we break above like 24, 25, then it's on like Donkey Kong. And that's when the fun happens, guys. Because if you look at this ratio, we haven't done shit yet for Bitcoin. We've got what? Gold is a 20 trillion. How many trillions of dollars is gold's fucking market cap right now? Can somebody tell me, chat? But let's look at the peaks of the previous Bitcoin cycles over here. The Bitcoin gold ratio, look at this, it's so tiny. The Bitcoin gold ratio went from something like 0, flat to neutral, up to 1. But it was a big move. Percentage-wise, this is just a huge move. And then over here, in the cycle where I started getting interested in Bitcoin, I got interested right over here in March of 2017, and then I started mining Ethereum, and then it just all kicked off, right? Spent way too much money on that. So be so much richer right now if I didn't do mining for like 2 years and get a warehouse for it. But anyway, we went from a 1 to a 6 or 15. Fucking A. And then the end of the last, or the bottom of that bear market, we were back down to a 2. And then when the pandemic happened, we were at a 3, right? But then we got up here to what? 38? Holy shit. Over here, what? Yeah, almost 38. 37 over here, 38 over here, right? Amazing numbers. Then we dropped down to 9. Then this last, like December of 2024, when things were still kicking off, before gold started to rally again, we were at a 40. We were at a 40. And then gold had its moment, and Bitcoin has just shit the bed ever since December of 2024. I think we can say that, right? Like, you could say that because if you look at all the proxies, the Bitcoin miners, outside of HPC plays, the Bitcoin treasury companies, they've just all been destroyed. Like, they had their peaks, and then they just got crushed. So this thing just went down. We got all the way down to 20. This is in a bull market. This is supposed to be a bull market. It's really just starting. But like, holy shit. Getting a rejection here and finding support here would be great too, because this looks like a head and shoulders with the Bitcoin to gold ratio. And so it looks like it's going to go down really low. If it stops right over here where it had previous resistance and support over here, and then support over here, and then support over here, and then it turns that into support, that's a really good bullish signal. So I think Bitcoin is kicking off. And it's great that silver's up, but I think you'd have to be stupid to get really interested in silver right now. No offense to anybody who just bought recently, but you probably made a bad decision. Why do I say that? Well, let's see. I don't know. Let's just see here. Let me get rid of this real quick. Let's look at silver. Is silver a really great deal right now? I'm going to argue that silver was a really great deal on April 2025. Instead of buying Bitcoin treasury companies or miners, if you would have bought silver, you'd be up 107% over that time. That's actually a really good move. Now, can this go higher? Yes, it totally can. But again, maybe it doubles. But why wouldn't you buy like a Bitcoin treasury that's down 85%, that's based out of Japan, that has just doing its preferred offerings? Why wouldn't you do that? This thing's up 232%. And we've got slowing disinflationary things going on around the world. And this thing's, since October of 2022, it's up 232%. Don't get me wrong. If you were in the metals play, kudos to you. Bitcoin has done way better over that time. But you guys are having your moment in the sun, and I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be very short-lived. So I hope you can soak that up. Let's keep going. All right, so this I can skip. Some of these might have been right here. Okay. So I wanted to speak to this because I think it's a really good point. People like Tucker Carlson is kind of a dipshit. Why do I say that? Matt said, when I went to Qatar in February of 2020 on a photography work trip for a hotel that was launching there, it was my first time in my life I had seen slavery. Qatar, and again, the United Arab Emirates was built on slavery too. You don't get to see it because they keep these people far away in housing that's away from the city. It's really easy to see in Qatar, but it says Qatar was building a new infrastructure for the World Cup, brought in thousands of slaves from other countries to do the work. It was truly horrifying. Something like 6,000 of them died just building the roads and stadiums. So when I saw all those conservative influencers posting about Qatar and how beautiful and amazing it was, that set me off. Qatar is rich in a natural resource, and then they treat people like dog shit. That's Qatar. Now, are we going to work with them because we have to ensure peace in that region and to make it to where we don't have to be a part of any of it? Yeah, sure, why not? But don't praise people like this. Don't praise people that still believe in slavery. Speaking of slavery, today the white population of the world is 8%. 100 years ago, it was 36%. And I'm going to show you another graph in regard to this too. And Elon Musk was posting a lot of this. So I said, white people are the minority because we're disappearing. We're almost extinct, right? So we need to make sure that we preserve our civilization for humanity's sake, especially since we've been a driving force around a lot of the innovation since the industrial age and really before that, right? Throughout a lot of history. I mean, the Romans, we've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot. Scott Turner, sweeping effort to purge illegal aliens from all public housing and HUD assistance programs. This is amazing. There are 584 people here today this is the funny part, is that all those people will be back again, but they're missing the most important time to be dialed in, which is right now, because all these things are happening in the government and around the world that are really going to be positive for us heading into 2026, and they're missing it. But whatever, at least we know that these guys are being purged and that we're cleaning up the system and we're reducing the incentive for illegal aliens to be in this country. James O'Keefe, flashback, Ilhan Omar connected harvester seen exchanging $200 for a 2020 general election ballot. There is so much fraud, whether it be voter fraud, whether it be financial fraud, that was being perpetrated against the federal government because they were one of the easiest targets, and state and city. It's going to be fun. Rapid Response 47 posted this, said whenever the president finds that the entry of any aliens, basically this says, this act, section 212F, says that they can deport them. I'm trying to see if anything else is here. Some things got jumbled up. That's probably good enough for now. I think we covered political stuff really well. There's more than that going on. There's so much going on. It's great stuff. Let's go to the economy. Good morning, Jesse. Can you please check Cypher? Planning to start a position. Okay. I think I'm actually buying some. I've got some orders in for about another 10 grand. I bought $25,000 worth of stuff yesterday. All things that were down. And I'm going to probably buy another 10. Was it yesterday or the day before? I don't remember. But I'm probably going to buy another 10%. There are 10,000 today, and I think Iron's going to be on that list. But here we are. This is just a beautiful bounce. I would say that based upon volatility, it is not crazy to me that we bounce down. The great thing about this is this looks like a bullish pennant, in my opinion, or a diamond pattern, diamond continuation pattern. Diamond's a little like sketchier. I think the bullish pennant is probably the more likely, and what will eventually happen is it will be an ascending triangle. It'll get up to here, maybe it drops back down, then it'll go back up to over here, and then we'll get a breakout. And if this is a descending triangle, the measured move for that conservatively, honestly, this is probably true. The measured move could be something like this on Cypher, in my opinion. And again, that probably isn't the top, but like we could see a trip towards the high 30s. So I think this is probably a good value territory. And if we get up to that measured move from where we are right now, it's more than a doubling. So it's not a bad thing at all. And this is a $7 billion cap, so it's getting up to 14, 15. I think it can go even higher than that. And what I'll do real quickly here, so instead of trying to find the support zone, didn't even make it down to the .618, which is great. I think we're done there too, especially with what Bitcoin's doing. But now we're going to draw a trend-based fib extension because we want to see, okay, so we know over here, right? Like over here, we had our low, and then we had our high, and now we're having our low. And what we want to see is like some measured move stuff. I actually think, again, we go banana zone. And maybe it's just, this is a $7 billion cap. Maybe it's 14. Maybe it's just getting up here, right? Just doubling. But honestly, it could go banana zone. It could go up even higher than that into the 50s. That would be great. I think if that happens and you get a 200% out of this or a 3x, that you should be happy. But it could go even higher. It just all depends on the demand and how well these guys are able to execute for these HPC plays. I'm not 100% sure how far that is yet, but I think it'll be strong, and I think it'll continue for a while. Let's look at other stuff real quick before we get into the economy. We got the CNN Fear and Greed Index. We got who wants to listen to Tom Lee? Chat, you guys want to listen to Tom Lee? He finally did a video. We're on the edge of extreme fear. Been here a long time, ready to break out. The crypto side, again, edge of extreme fear. It actually got into fear, I think. Let me see here. It might have. Yeah, okay, so we just crossed over into fear. I would say all of it's going that way. Inflation, this hasn't really changed. In a year, we haven't really went anywhere. Being in the twos is not a bad number. Let's look at what else we got on economic data here real quick. Yes, Tom Lee. Okay, let's do it. We'll do him next. Let's just look here and see what else we have. Import prices were only up 0.3%. That's great. You want the stuff you import to get cheaper. This is what I've been talking about for over a year now, and especially after Trump. We're seeing import prices because of the aggressive nature that we have against against China right now. They're getting crushed, and so their prices are dropping. They've been seeing a lot of deflation. And so our import prices were only 0.3%. Forecast was 0.6. Let's look at how that looks historically here. Wow, look at that, guys. Look at it over here during the pandemic, how much we were paying for shit. Look at it over here in 2017 to 18. And look at it now. It's non-existent. So we're back to deflationary, things are getting cheaper, but it's not for a healthy reason for China. Now, export prices were 3.8%. That I like to see. I want to see those go up because I want us to make higher margins with the rest of the world while we pay less for things. And then again, ADP was down, but I'm actually okay with this. I think there's so many government jobs that have went away. I think there's tertiary impacts to other organizations that are affected with government programs. When you get rid of NGOs and all these bullshit fucking things that were going on behind the scenes, only 32 likes, you got to do better than that, guys. Come on. When you get rid of all that stuff, you're going to see some job loss, but it's not crazy job loss. Look at what happened with the pandemic over here, and this is really crazy numbers. I wish we had more data there. We could go back to 2000. That would be the .com, and the 2008. That would be amazing. But this is good stuff. I think it's all good. Let's look at mortgage-related data. So we've got mortgage rates coming down again, guys. What is this? One of the lowest numbers. 6.3 was the lowest number. Outside of that, it is the lowest number we've had since September of 2024. Love it. That's good data. Mortgage applications dropped. Mortgage market index dropped. Mortgage refinance dropped. Why is everybody should understand this? We need to get the 10-year lower. Today it looks good. There was that narrative about TLT not doing good. We got to look at that too. That's something we're going to be looking at here in a little bit here. Just talking about how much short interest there is on TLT and how likely it is to break out in the near future. Otherwise, though, let's see. We got ISM services data coming out today. Global composite, PMI, manufacturing production. Hey, thank you for the gifted membership, Paul. I appreciate it. So somebody got a membership. You can now talk in chat. Looks like it's Jeffrey Ruiz. What's up, buddy? We got a lot today. This is going to be fun, actually. So this will be coming out in about 40 minutes. You should probably stick around for that. We're going to get industrial production, capacity utilization, everything, right? Tons of data points coming out, including service sector, coming out at 9. I probably won't be around for some of that. We'll see. I'll stick around at least till 8:15, maybe 8:45. Got a lot going on. Got to get ready for my trip. Let's get over here. So what do we got? Trump accounts again. So projections anywhere from look at this. This is just great. This is good stuff. Very excited about it. I said, so I wanted to talk about this. So Michael Howell. So somebody said, my buddy Red Fox, he said, too bad Michael Howell putting a damper on the 2026 party. And so I put that this is going to be the Roaring 20s. We're at the start of the Roaring 20s, and I strongly believe that. And this was based off of Scott Bessent talking about substantial tax refunds in the first quarter.
The tens of trillions of dollars that have come in investment,
He goes over more than that, but essentially also talking about wage increases, real wage increases for the bottom half of society, which are also, again, their children are getting investment accounts. Cool stuff. And we're going to be pushing up wages because we're deporting all the illegals, and these guys are going to be able to demand more from their companies, which will help the lower half. And we like that. But Michael Howell, he said, hey, with what Michael Howell's talking about, we're still going to be fucked with liquidity at the beginning of the year. You know what? He was saying that end of Q2 of 2025, that was going to be the pain point where things could get riskier. And then it was the end of 2025. I love Ed Yardeni. Oh, I think he's so right. Yeah, he's saying the Roaring 20s too. He's an older dude. He was wrong for a while, but he adapts his thinking pretty quickly. So I think he's right. I think it's going to be the Roaring 20s. But so Michael Howell was talking about how it was going to be the middle of this last year where we had to worry about it, and then it was the end of this year, and then that was pushed out to Q1, and now it sounds like maybe even Q2 of next year. Here's the thing I don't think he's accounting for. He's not accounting for deregulation, massive amounts of it. He's just looking at global liquidity. That's all he looks at, right? And so he's not looking at the fact that China's much weaker. he's not as far as the country goes, and that they're getting hurt really, really bad based on tariffs, and that they're doing a lot of money printing, and that's rolling over into gold right now. And I think that's why we've seen the big surge in gold over the last year, is because China is doing massive money printing, which we'll look at today. And that's just directly funding into gold, because they are not friendly to Bitcoin. They've made it very clear that they're still not friendly to stable coins that aren't the digital yuan, and that they're not friendly to Bitcoin. And so I think, and then you've got AI, robotics, autonomy, you got all the things happening, all the stuff behind the scenes that is boosting the economy. Deregulation, and again, pro-growth policies like no tax on tips, being able to build in America. The factories aren't running yet. The construction workers are starting to see that in commercial and industrial construction. They're seeing the big benefits, but residential is getting pushed down. So when you look at construction, it doesn't really look good yet, but it will. It will, because we're going to lower rates. The markets are going to start exploding higher in residential real estate heading into the spring of this year and the summer, and people are going to look back at it and be like, "Damn, dude, look at real estate and how well it did in 2026." And you'll see that picking up, and then at the same time, you'll see the manufacturings and the fruit of this labor happening, and you'll see employment increasing, and you'll see productivity going up. And again, deregulation, 500 pages of regulation has been removed in 2025. That is a 48-to-1 ratio. For every regulation that was created, they have removed 48. Trump was shooting for 10-to-1. His first term, I think he had 5. So anyway, I like what's happening right now. I wouldn't be too worried about it. Mike Alfred makes a big, bold statement, literally all caps. Here comes the liquidity we haven't had since 2021. Quantitative tightening ended, bitches, and we're getting ready to lower the rates by at least 25 bips. Bitcoin sitting at 93,100 right now. James E. Thorne, for the record, interest rate sensitive sectors have been suffocated by an overly restrictive Federal Reserve stance since 2023, and 2026 must mark the point where policy finally allows these parts of the economy to breathe again. The persistent anomaly of the 2-year Treasury yield sitting below the effective federal funds rate for the longest stretch since the post-Great Financial Crisis period is clear market verdict. The Powell Fed has been too tight for too long. Even as inflation has cooled and forward-looking indicators have softened, the labor market is weakening. The Fed has, and we just saw the ADP data today, right? The Fed has insisted on holding policy deep in restrictive territory, widening the disconnect between market implied equilibrium rates and the official policy path. This misalignment has suppressed credit formation. We're fixing all that. Credit's going to open up. We're doing all this stuff with deregulation. Did you know that with treasuries, there were some weird issues where we made it to where you were getting penalized if you were a foreign buyer of our treasuries. Like it sucked for you. I can't remember the exact details. And we removed this redundancy that created that problem. And now we're, by the nature of it, are incentivizing people to invest in our treasuries that were previously had disincentives. That's beautiful. We also have right here, guys, look at this. Market yield on U.S. Treasury securities, a 2-year constant maturity quoted on an investment basis, federal funds effective rate. So the other thing I want to speak to here is think about our manufacturing suffering that we've been in for like over 3-4 years now, right? Honestly, it's probably longer than that. In fact, it perfectly aligns with what has happened with us flipping around and being restrictive at a time that, again, we were worried about inflation. And again, there was a reason to be worried about it based upon what we were doing, but it was because of all the money printing. And then we hit the brakes faster than shit. Once going from transitory, it's just fucking insanity. So we created this route that exists throughout the real estate market, the manufacturing sector, all these different parts of our economy, because we have not been supportive of real estate. Residential real estate creation. We have not been supportive of manufacturing in this country. And then at the same time, we raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. That is all flipping right now on its head. And so this right here from Bar Chart, I love Bar Chart. These guys helped me create my account and boom it to what it is today. They said gold now outperforming the S&P 500 over the last 30 years. So they're saying this like it's a good thing. But I said these kind of headlines are when the music stops for gold as the baton is handed to Bitcoin, and we've got a W bottom. Fuck yeah. Ryan Detrick, going back 40 years, stocks have been lower in December during the first year of the presidential cycle only once 40 years worth of data. Only one time have we been lower, and it was negative 0.1%. So we're going higher. TLT, there's way too many people shorting TLT. This will turn around. Short interest jumps to an all-time high. Look at this. So at the time, people are idiots. If you look, short interest wasn't created on TLT until over here. So TLT had already been starting to get butchered. People saw a triple top, and then they started shorting it over here. They made a little bit of money right about here, and then I mean, they just stopped shorting it, right? So they made money on this right here, this little part, and then they stopped shorting it, and then they started shorting it heavy right here when it got up to this level, and they made a little bit of money. But look at the short interest. As TLT has just been grinding sideways to down, short interest has just been compounding. Look at this. Look at this. This will blow off in another direction. And again, I bought TLT calls early, and I said they're probably early. I still believe that's true. I'm probably going to get more January 2027s. I might even get July 2027s or whatever. I'll let you guys know. But this is a trade that I think is going to turn out well, and I think it can do 10 to 1 what the underlying asset can do. I think the underlying asset can do over 20%. So if it can do 10 to 1, it can do 200%. And I think it's a hedge. And I think it hasn't been seen as a hedge right now, again, because of what's happening in Japan. But there's a lot of specific things to Japan that people aren't realizing. Rice is incredibly expensive in Japan. A lot of their inflation right now is stuff that doesn't really matter. Here, I should fix this real quick. Shouldn't be logarithmic. It should be regular when you have a chart that's that fucked because of some massive decline in like a percentage. But if you look here, this has been pretty crazy, and you're going to see salacious headlines that are saying, like here soon, they were talking about 2008. They'll be talking about the worst we've seen since 2007. A lot of it is noise. A lot of it is noise, and it's not real. So just realize that. Realize that everybody worried about the Japanese yen carry trade are lying to you. I mean, it doesn't fucking matter. And Kevin Hassett is going to be the new Fed chair. I was right about that too. We have over $8 trillion in money market funds right now, the largest in history. Another record being set. People like the 8 number, so they posted about it today. Ryan Detrick, S&P 500, up more than 5% year-to-date heading into December. Turns out it's also year one of the presidential stocks have never been lower since World War II. That is 12 of 12 higher. I wanted to point out what we never want to be. 1/3 of French citizens have jobs that aren't tied to the government. So 66% of French citizens have jobs that are related to their government. That is horrific. That's why you don't have innovation. It's not just about all the regulation. It's about shit like this. And yes, more work for Trevor. Show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome is true so much. It's true about the short interest that's sitting on TLT right now. It's true about government employees in France. It's true about everything in life. Charlie Munger is a genius. Was a genius. Ryan Detrick. When everyone was breath expert and freaking out, you know who wasn't worried? The credit markets. We talked about this the other day. Look at the MOVE index, guys. The bond volatility index is a great indicator, too. If people are worried about credit at a federal level, the MOVE goes crazy. If they're worried about it on like a private credit level, the SOFR goes crazy. And like that rate that people will show you where things are going nuts. Again, that's like banking and other stuff. But the MOVE is showing whether or not people are concerned about the government. They're really not. And so a lot of the fears that existed previously, and I've talked about this before, I've shown how when bond volatility goes down, markets do well historically. And I think that's going to show that it's true, again, in the not too distant future. Again, narratives can be wrong for a while, but if you're right about your narrative, it will be right in the future. And so again, on here, he was actually showing high yield corporate bonds. So SOFR, high yield corporate bonds, MOVE index, these are all great ways to figure out whether or not people are worried. And corporate bonds, I mean, if high yield corporate bonds aren't a big worry, nothing is. All right, this means American citizens and companies who do not hire illegals will benefit by increased margins and higher pay. So let's just listen to this. Well, no, this is 17 minutes. We'll skip it. Craig Fuller, this guy is big in freight, and that's why I follow him. And he has good insights. He said Monday was one of the biggest days for compliance crackdowns in trucking, which will continue to put pressure on non-compliant drivers and motor carriers. We just saw something where 1/3 of CDL issuance in the state of Minnesota was done so illegally. So you can imagine, I love that he has a Tesla semi-truck up here. You can imagine how much that changes in the future. You can imagine drivers being able to get money again. And the U.S. shipping index has been rough. These people have struggled, man. They've had a rough life, but that's all going to get better soon. Japanese bonds puking. Yeah, nobody cares. Fuck it. Allocation to bonds. This is another one I wanted to show you. Again, bar chart says investors have the smallest allocation to U.S. bonds since the run-up to the global financial crisis. And Paul Tudor Jones, I think it was Paul Tudor. I don't know. There's been a few people talking about it. They said that one of the easiest trades for next year, yeah, no, it was Paul Tudor, is just longing bonds. And I think I've got a great trade on that with TLT. Again, if it goes up 20%, I make 200%. Right now I've got $350,000 in it. So I'd have $1 million in the end. And it could go even higher than that. But I think people are under allocated. If I make a bunch of money off of like HPC, maybe Bitcoin miners, well, I really don't have any. Everything I have is like a Bitcoin miner / HPC play. So I think it does well no matter what. But if I make 100, 200% on some of these and do well, or like Metaplanet, which is up again, I think it will be today. It was up 4.62. It actually confirmed for the first time in a half a year, it broke out of its daily trend line, which is great. And then you got MicroStrategy that bounced perfectly off of peak volumes yesterday, which is also great. I don't know how I went down this from bonds, but whatever. Let me just show you this chart real quick. Love this chart. MicroStrategy was all the way down, guys, to 71% from its recent high. Right now, sitting up here at negative 66%. But if you look here and you move this over about a year's time frame and let this settle for a second, you should get, well, I got to go back a little further. That's not a year. That's a couple years. So if you go here, let's just do this. Let me go here. Motherfucker. Just give me a second. This is going to work. It's going to work. Maybe. I got to let it sit so it can calculate. It's not always the quickest with the volume profile as far as giving you the peak volumes. Now it's saying it's up top. Whatever. So one of the secondary peak volumes, maybe it's the secondary down here, is right here, right where we bounced. And so, yeah, maybe if I go right about here, I don't know. It'll come up eventually. But one of the peak volumes is right. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's better. So going back a year, if we look at a year's chart, it's actually over, 2 years. Almost 2 years, year and a half. If we go back that range, we can see that we bounced perfectly off of peak volumes down here. Perfectly. So again, this is definitely going to be a strong area of support. We got basically the resolution of our double top, and it broke down to here, and now that was beautiful support. That was an easy buy yesterday. This one doesn't have as high of a multiplier, so I don't care as much, but because that's why I only bought a little bit, but I had to buy some. I just couldn't pass that up. It's just such an easy bet. And if we look at Metaplanet real quickly too, again, I think these treasuries are finally in play, and it's been a long time. But Metaplanet breaking out of the daily downtrend that it started over here in June, July, 12 months or 6 months ago, is a beautiful thing. And some of the returns that you could get on these, not that they'll happen right away, but I still think we're going to at least 130. I think we're probably going to 200 in 2026, or at least the 180 to 200 range. So if that happens, this thing can get back up. It can close its daily gap up here, maybe up 400%. There's a lot. They've got their preferred offering going too. They only have 2.84 billion. They're basically at value. Maybe they're probably under their Bitcoin holdings. I don't know. I'd have to look. Maybe I can check real quick here and see what they're sitting at. VIX has come down quite a bit. Yeah, the VIX too. For stock volatility, the VIX is great for that. And I'll just show it real quick, and then I'll get back to this. Again, I did a trend line experiment with this one too, looking at the stock market going back throughout time here. And again, if you look, when the volatility stopped, people made so much fucking money, whether it was here, 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 whether it's what's happening right now. Because again, we had some of the highest wicks, guys. We had this right here, outside of this one period in the great financial crisis, this and this were the worst spikes in VIX volatility that we had seen since the pandemic, going back to the great financial crisis. So these were second and third outside of the great financial crisis. So this is a beautiful time to be alive. This is the time where people make a lot of money, and then there's always going to be people like Henrik von Suckacock that will tell you that the world is falling apart, and that's like their jam. That's what they do. And that's really helpful at like the bottom, December of 2022. It's not helpful now. U.S. economy, what else we got? There's a bunch of things. Again, QT ending. I love the write-ups, guys, from Zero Hedge. I actually subscribe to these guys. There's so much valuable, just thorough information. If you're a deep diver, this is a great one to have. You know what we didn't do? Tom Lee, son of a bitch. Let me get back over here. Sorry, chat, if you guys were trying to say that. We will look at iron. I think we did. Did we look at iron? I don't know if we looked at iron. I'll show it real quick, and then we'll get to Tom Lee. So iron fell a lot, guys. I actually think this is the bottom, or we're real close to it. You can see the 100 moving average here on the daily time frame. We got close to it after getting underneath and then rejecting off the 50 moving average, dropping like a rock. This thing's still up 700%, and I think we can do a 91% here pretty easily. And I think getting to the $80 level, maybe even 100 range is possible this next year. Maybe it gets crazier in HPC, but I need to see more to warrant that. Jesse, talk about ArcG. I mean, ArcG's amazing. Again, we need to get to Tom Lee here real quick soon. Oh, I didn't really talk about iron too much, but we could go to lower. We could go lower. I adjusted this to kind of represent that. I posted something earlier saying, hey, we're probably at the bottom, and it just all depends on where you draw the line. It could go lower because we have a double top over here, and the measured move would actually probably get us down to like here. And then there's even, if things got crazy, there's a gap down here and we could hit this level. I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm just saying shit could get weird and we could get down to the low 30s. If that happens, I'm an adder. I don't have a lot of iron, not as much as I have of Cypher and CleanSpark. But anyway, let's get to ArcG. So ArcG is beautiful. And wow, you guys are crazy. I gotta respond here. I'll thank you guys in a second. So if you look over here, we had such a beautiful weekly candle or a monthly candle on ArcG. We had a bullish hammer, guys. It was a tiny little hammer. He's got a little hammer, but it's a long fucking shaft, and that counts. And so we're doing a little back test here. I would not expect it to last long. It might not even last right now. I still think that we're getting with ArcG. I think it's going to be really easy to get to 40. I think you can get to 48. I think shit could get crazy and we could get up to 61 as early as the beginning, Q1 of next year. And I think this thing could go fucking bananas. I have a lot of money on this right now. I think it's $750,000 or some shit. This is one of my most exciting plays, especially if we're heading into an age of abundance and with everything that Zuck said about solving disease and all the really smart people like Peter Diamandis and his crew. What is their show called again? Please help me, chat. EC, thank you, man. $20, sir. Eric Trump's BTC mining business, ABTC, quietly went public recently. The C-suite peeps all ran HUD 8 and have good reputations. The stock is 220. You know what? I wish it would have been nicer to Sue. I actually like Sue. Sue, if you watch my channel, I like you. We should chat sometime. I might even do an interview with you. If you want. If you'll have me. I wasn't very nice to you. I mean, I just wasn't responsive. I wasn't mean. Alex Garcia, iron chart. Are we going to see low mid 30s? You could. I actually hope we do. But it also could just bounce right here. Iron has been very strong. It's up 2% in pre-market. American Bitcoin, good morning. Alona says, can you imagine if MSTR announces this Monday another green dot to get to the 500 million? Oh, that's a brilliant way. Having over 2 years of dividend payments is beautiful. Now, Matt Gates, thank you for the $31, brother. A couple of tacos for me on your holiday, bud. Appreciate everything. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Sometimes it's hard to do it. It's hard to be here because people just get so fucking depressing. And you know what I've seen in just the last 24 hours, just in 24 hours? I've seen a change. People are different. People are starting to get it. They're getting excited again. So I don't know. Their excitement makes me excited. Because again, people are fickle. And when they come back, that's when you should be happy. All right, let's see, guys. We gotta do this here. We gotta do a Tom Lee moment here. I need to refresh. Let's listen to our boy, Tom Lee. We'll skip the technical. We got to get to our boy Thomas. It's all about Tom Lee today. And he gave this to us, guys. He's been stressed a lot. Be nice to Tom Lee. Like his posts and share, please. He was working until 9:52 p.m. Eastern last night trying to get out the good word. And he took it rough because, again, he's been very excited. And so like the rest of us, he's gotten hit. But I think he's going to be proven right again. I think Bitcoin 130s is happening. He just, he got kicked in the nuts for a little bit. So did I.
Good evening, FS Insight family and community.
Slim.
Today is Tuesday, December 2nd, and this is our Macro Minute. Before I start today's video, a reminder that this week is our Cyber Monday sale. It is the biggest sale of the year for FS Insight family.
If you guys want a referral link, let me know. This is such a great site. I get it for free because I've referred so many people. If you get 10 people referred, it's free for you. It's like you pay 10% or something every person that you add, you get a reduction. It's really cool.
Family members, you can
definitely, if nothing else, if you don't do crypto, which I mean, whatever, I got it all. But if you don't do crypto, it's so worth it just for the fundamental stuff. It's so great.
save up to $886. This makes a great gift if you want to gift the FS Insight membership to.
Yeah, the loss on Ethereum has actually just been a great dip buying opportunity for them. And if we really are going to Bitcoin 180, 200, and I think we're still doing that. My base case is that we easily get to 130. Where if you look, it's that red line in the bottom right corner, guys. If you look over there, that we easily get to this 130s range, which again is like right over here. That's just easy. Now, once we get above that, that's where people get bullish. When we get from the 130s now to the 140s, that's when people go, this might not be the end. And then when we establish support above 149, 150, people are going to get fucking bullish. So, maybe if you're going to sell, if you're worried at all, sell it over here, sell a little bit, get maybe 10% cash or something. Get a little bit ready, or maybe buy some TLT because you believe my thesis that, the government's going to do a really good job at getting rates down, and that Kevin Hassett's just a shoe-in, and that we're going to be gaining more power and things are going to get better heading into 2026 while they get worse for China. If you believe that thesis, maybe buy some TLT, but it's going to be good.
Someone that you love or someone in your family. So please hurry and take advantage of this offer. And a reminder that on December 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time is our 2026 market outlook. There's a lot to discuss, so please stay tuned. So I want to start today's video talking about the rule of 10 best days. And if you're not familiar with that, it's just that the S&P
this is a good one, guys. The rule of the best 10 days. This is why you can't just jump out of a market completely. This is why right here. Listen to this. If you don't understand this principle, listen.
It's annual returns in a handful of days. And it's a reminder not to time the market. Since 1928, the S&P has returned 8% a year. But if you missed out on the 10 best days of every year, you actually had a negative 13% a year return, or you underperformed by 2,100 basis points.
So since 1928, since the Roaring 20s, this includes the Great Depression, all the stuff that's happened since. If you miss the best 10 days, so this means this is why compound interest and just being in is so important for 99% of people. I say 95, but whatever, it's probably fucking more than that. Maybe even myself at times, honestly. But I'm pretty bullish. I'm in a lot more than I should be probably. But the 10 best days rule. So if since 1928, if you miss those 10 best days, you got negative 13%. And if you included the best 10 days, the S&P returned 8%. So, God, wouldn't that suck? You got like why weren't people buying Cypher when I was buying it? Why weren't they buying CleanSpark when I was buying it so that they could get those 45 to 60% booms? And what was a few days, like 3 days. So again, this 10 best days rule is super important. You should be in the market more than you're not.
Okay, that's significant. Since 2016, the
Roaring
S&P's
20s, baby.
returned 14% a year. And excluding the 10 best days, it's minus 9.
So I would argue that that's even worse, right? That's a 23% disparity where this is a 21. And so you should have been more bullish since 2016.
Percent a year. So 2,300 basis points of relative underperformance.
It's like a decade,
And
guys.
you can see this pretty clearly in the last few years. In 2023, the S&P was up 24%, but excluding the 10 best days, it was down. It was only up 4%. In 2024, is 23% versus 4%. So you can see that gap. And in 2025, we're up 16% year to date.
I don't know. Let's check.
But exclude.
So again, this is a very important rule. Somebody said, hey, the market looks upset. It's starting to fall down. Let's see if that's broad-based. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely come down. Let's take a look. Well, Tesla's actually up 0.79%. ARKG's up 1.2. TLT's up 0.32. So is it really down? Or is it more about like crypto taking a hit? Let's look at the data. Let's see what we got. And we probably did get some data. Well, I don't know if we did. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you, Mike. You don't want to be short here. Just because we dropped $1,000 doesn't mean you want to be short here. Trust me. This is not the time. It's not the time. So I don't think we've got any new data. I don't think it really matters. I think the market's just jostling around. I'm actually would prefer that there not be a lot of gaps heading into the morning, so don't worry about it. Let's get back over here to Tom.
Including the 10 best days, you're down minus 12%. I mean, that's even bigger than historical gap.
If you guys have some big news event,
and let's look at these actual 10 best days of every year, okay? The top 10 days. And in 2025, the top 10 days totaled 32%. Now, the reason it's so much bigger this year is because of April 9th. That was the tariff bottom. If you missed that day, you missed out on basically 10 percentage points of return.
Axe Edwards.
And X the 10 best days, you can see that in 2024, it's actually a negative year. But that's because we had the tariff bear market.
Well, what was it? Microsoft? Let me take a look here. Let me go over to this one. See if that's the news. I don't care what Microsoft does. I really don't care. They're fucked. Lowers AI sales force as customers resist newer products. This is a Microsoft problem. Let's just do this. And you know who's going to eat Microsoft? And it's funny, they've been talking about it for a while. Companies like Palantir. I mean, even Elon's talking about how his AI in the future can replace, like they can create an operating system basically to run and do everything that you need to do that isn't code and it's just pure AI. It's like Jarvis, right? Like, so why Microsoft is not doing well in the future? Probably an easy short, my guess. I mean, what is Microsoft doing well at? Can anybody tell me? Chat, tell me what is Microsoft doing well at? If that's what the fucking market's concerned about, you guys need to take a vacation too. I'm just going to throw it out there. Back to Fundstrat.
And I think sentiment continues to
Yeah, sentiment. This is important. Sentiment has been incredibly negative.
be negative. I mean, the latest AII bulls less bears is minus 11%. And if you look at the full year, basically investors have been bearish all year. I think they've been bearish partly because they missed out on that single best day on April. And in fact, investors have only been positive on this market for 12 weeks out of this year. That's pretty surprising. 75% of the weeks they've been bearish. So if you're bearish, you have a consensus view. Just want to make that clear.
I don't have any other top plays in robotics outside of Tesla. I think I like Anduril. I might even like, what is it, Red Cat or something. There's some other Kraken. There's some other government-based like drone companies and things like that. I think those are interesting. But I don't have any other robotic plays outside of that. I mean, there are none. There are none. And we'll look at that in a second too. We'll look at Tesla, and you can see their latest running comparison. I am sure that every robotics company just went, fuck.
Sure. We still think stocks are going to rally into year end. The Fed's going to cut in December, and QT ended this week. The economy remains healthy. The shutdown is over.
ONDS.
There's going to be performance chasing, especially because people got off sides in November.
Okay.
Equities got oversold.
I need to look at that one.
There's
I've
a seasonal
never looked
reason
at it.
for that. Since 1950, there's been 4.
Hold up real quick. ONDS. Can you guys, who's the best person? Who is the best person to look at for ONDS? On YouTube or X? Who is the best? Can you tell me?
4 times where the S&P is up more than 15% year to date, but down or flat in November. Okay. December's positive 2%, all instances when you're up 15%. But in the cases where you're down in November, 4 times, December was up. So I think the odds favor a strong finish for the year.
Kirby.
On Wednesday, we're going to get ISM services, and on Friday is a lot of data, including core PCE, which should be tame, and we have some earnings this week. So continue to buy that dip. We still favor the Mag 7, AI and crypto, the industrials, financials, and small caps, and the Fed that's going to turn dovish. So stay on target. Keep in mind this is the most hated V-shaped rally.
All right. I just want to say, Tom Lee, you're looking good, brother. You're looking
We
good.
still favor the Mag.
We love you. We're happy to see you looking good. He's got himself a cute little Asian girlfriend. I don't know. I don't think he's married, right? I'm pretty sure it's his girlfriend. But looking good. Keep it up. We love you. There's some people that still support you even when things aren't going great because we know that you speak the truth, brother. Also, this one from Joseph Brown. Lots of good information in here. So this guy was a bear for a very, very long time. And he's saying the doomers may be wrong. The economy seems to be doing better than many people think. Seeing him switch is very exciting. Let me see. He's talking about how we're going from extreme fear and how we're starting to jump out of that. Economy adds 119,000 jobs in September. Revisions show first year with multiple negative. Okay. Let's keep going here. Retail sales year over year, just talking about how this is getting better. U.S. inflation adjusted retail sales also looks good. Again, we're getting up to kind of that median. That's good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway reveals new position in Alphabet. So just saying, hey, it looks like even Berkshire Hathaway is getting excited about this. He talks about the rate cut coming up. Just a bunch of other stuff. Oh, this open market committee directs the desk undertaking open market operations as necessary to maintain the federal funds rate. So again, we're just doing everything in our power to ensure that rates get lower. There's good stuff. Jake tracks ONDS. Who is Jake? Does he have a certain handle? With tariff revenues, again, still through the roof. I think a lot of this has already been done. Let's go to Tesla. I want to go to Tesla. There's so many other things, but let's go to Tesla. Jake who? So Tesla, Sawyer Merritt said lots of equipment being installed. Let's just do this here. Being installed inside Tesla's new semi-truck factory in Nevada ahead of the start of mass production. Mass production on the semi, guys. More efficient, increased payload capacity, design, and just talking about the details of it. This is so cool, guys. Look at this. This is Optimus running. The first one is at 100%. The next one's at like 50 and then 25. Look at this. Oh, Jake. Okay. Does he talk about fundamentals or just the chart? Because, I mean, the chart, like, I can do that shit too. Jay Bolor. Okay, I'm going to look that up. Thank you. Look at that. I can tell you guys, if you are a robotics company, you're like, fuck me right now when you look at this thing. Figure ain't got shit. SpaceX received approval to develop Space Launch Complex 37 for Starship operations at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Construction has started. We're going to have a total of 3 of these launch pads where they can launch 3 of these motherfuckers at once. In partnership with Tesla, Del Mar College has launched a chemical operations internship starting this fall at Tesla's new Gulf Coast lithium refinery and cathode production at Giga Texas. Dude, we are going to rule the future of the world. Mario, Tesla moves into Austria to prep for full self-driving expansion. Beautiful. Breaking, TD Cowen analyst reiterates Tesla price target of $509 after robotaxi ride impressed him. Tesla ramping up hiring efforts for full self-driving in Europe. What? Farzad, Tesla FSD interest in the U.S. is at the highest level in 5 years. It's amazing. This was a great interview. This is a full interview with Elon, just talking about a bunch of different things about civilization, talking about being a Kardashev level 1, what percentage of a planet's energy to successfully achieve that. That's the goals. These are the goals. These are the timelines that Elon thinks about. We've got 4 private space companies. People are like, oh, hey, look at America, space station falling apart. China is so innovative. We're putting 4 of these motherfuckers up there. Take that, China. Suck a fatty. Mario, Tesla patented the holy grail of lithium refining, and China's entire chokehold is cracking. We will own this space. Shay, Shay. I love Shay. He's fucking great. Shay's great. Okay, I'll look at that. He's the person I'll follow. Still a believer in Palmer Luckey, but Wall Street Journal article yesterday, not very. Yeah, he even responded to that, I think. And fuck the Wall Street Journal. Fuck all those publications, Bloomberg, all that stuff. They're all trash. Model Y demand surging. We actually had really good sales too in China, or deliveries. I think they were record breaking again for the month, which was great. AI and chips real quick here. Artificial intelligence adoption rate seems to be pretty quick. We don't have Bitcoin in here, but it'd probably be like right here. So it's beating Bitcoin. And then all the adoption rate is only going to accelerate. I say go Palantir. Show people they don't need college for most jobs. Palantir is going to high school to get employees now. That's fucking awesome. I love that. Amazon's rolling out their own AI chip. This was talked about yesterday. Trainium 3 Ultra servers are live with 144 chips and 4x the computer prior generation. Whatever. Good for them. OpenAI is realizing that they've got to start to prostitute themselves now. What do I mean by that? They're shelving ads, and they're going to be doing things like allowing people to use AI to generate pornographic images. Good for you, ChatGPT. Desperate for the money. Remember, guys, they're a nonprofit that's for profit and worried about profit. Love it. David Sachs, narrative violation. It's a great time to be a construction worker. Electricians, carpenters, welders, plumbers, drywall hangers, concrete pourers, equipment installers, all seeing their wages up 25 to 30% as the results of the AI boom. Not just the AI boom, you deport all the illegals, the Mexicans that you love the tacos they were making, and they might have even been great people, but they were lowering your wages, if nothing else, because they're willing to take lower wages, and they're creating an increased supply of cheap labor that makes it harder for you to make money. So you might like them, you might love them, but they're taking away from the dream of living in America, and nobody elected for that to happen. Nobody voted for Democrats to seep in millions, tens of millions of illegal immigrants into our country. And a psyop in order to be able to get it to where they could become a uniparty that everybody voted Democrat. Just because they they wanted to turn into France. They wanted 2/3 of people to be funded by the government. Not a great way to be sustainable in the future. We had NVIDIA, again, with the Synopsys company where they're in bed with each other. That could turn out bad eventually. There could be things, eventually we'll reach a peak in chip production. I just don't think it's anytime soon, man. It could be years from now. To try and pretend like you understand that when the leaders in the industry like Elon Musk and Jensen Huang and all these others don't even know when the end is in sight, but they think it's way the fuck out there. This is not the dot-com bubble. You'd have to be an idiot to think that. Defense and war, we got Anduril will be a beneficiary. What is this? This is Hegseth. Hegseth is brilliant, by the way, talking about how we're going to ramp up drones massively.
After the Cold War, U.S. defense spending as a percentage of GDP dropped significantly. The War Department budgeted for quality over quantity. That served us well for 30 years. However, we now find ourselves in a new era, an era of cheap, disposable battlefield drones. We cannot be left behind. We must invest in inexpensive unmanned platforms that have proved so effective. One of my priorities is rebuilding our military. We can't do that by doing business the same way we have in the past. We cannot afford to shoot down cheap drones with $2 million missiles.
Doesn't this just make sense? Aren't you glad that we have these people in power right now? Think about the way Biden was managing what was going on between Russia and Ukraine.
And we ourselves must be able to field large quantities of capable attack drones. In July, I stripped away regulations handicapping our adoption of small drones, shifting authorities from the resident bureaucracy to unit commanders. This was the first step in the urgent effort to boost lethality across the force. The second step is to kickstart U.S. industrial capacity and reduce prices so our military can adequately budget for unmanned weapons. With help from our partners in Congress, we're going to solve this problem, starting with small attack drones. Drone Dominance is a billion-dollar program funded by President Trump's Big, Beautiful Bill. It is purpose-built on the pillars of the War Department's new acquisition philosophy, a stable demand signal to expand the U.S. drone industrial base by leveraging private capital paired with flexible contracting built for commercial companies founded by our best engineers and entrepreneurs. Drone Dominance will do two things: drive costs down and capabilities up. We will deliver tens of thousands of small drones to our force in 2026 and hundreds of thousands of them by 2027. I will soon be meeting with the military services to discuss transformational changes in warfighting doctrine. We need to outfit our combat units with unmanned systems at scale. We cannot wait. The funding provided by the Big Beautiful Bill is ready to be used to mount an effective sprint to build combat power. At the Department of War, we're adopting new technologies with a fight-tonight philosophy so that our warfighters have the cutting-edge tools they need to prevail.
I love it. That's beautiful. Also, again, Palmer Luckey responding to the Wall Street Journal article. We aren't going to change. We aren't going to slow down. That's exactly what they want us to do, exactly what our competitors want, and the opposite of what building safe, powerful, cost-effective weapons actually looks like. So to the Wall Street Journal, buck you. That's our response. Let's look here. Let's go back. That's probably enough on that. China, real quick. So I just wanted to speak to this. Kobayashi letter said major economies are running unleveraged like never before seen. But really, look at the chart. So EMU going down, right? Leverage being reduced, essentially. Japan going down. U.S. going sideways since the pandemic, essentially, since we kind of peaked in 2021. EMU going sideways, similar time frame, right? Actually lower than where it was in 2015. And then there's China, straight up. Which one looks unsustainable right now? Which one? It's people from countries south of Mexico. Immigration numbers between the U.S. and Mexico are pretty much washed now. What are you guys talking about? I don't know. I see NVIDIA setting an ecosystem like that of TSMC. I think they could be rocking and rolling for 5 years, maybe more. I don't know. Eventually they'll cap. China's economic miracle is collapsing from within the inside. Again, there's just tons of articles that are showing why things aren't going very well there. I might actually bounce soon. I think I'm going to bounce, guys. I'm going to bounce. I got stuff to do. Oh, wait, we did have more economic data, though. Let's look at it real quick here. So we did get, let's go over this real fast. Industrial production month over month, 0.1%. That's actually, consensus was flat and forecast was 0.1. That's good. Capacity utilization, 75.9. That was the same as the previous. Let me refresh here again real quick too. That came in lower than consensus and forecast. That's fine. Industrial production, 1.6%. Forecast was 1.6, very much in line. Manufacturing production year over year, 1.5. That was better than the 1.3% forecast. Beautiful. I love that. So look at this, guys. We're seeing signs of life in manufacturing production. Look at that. Highest number, this is the headline. Highest number in manufacturing production since October of 2022. That's the headline. Mark that shit down. That's the headline. We're happy about that. Let me get a screenshot. That's the headline. I don't care about anything else. That's it. Okay? So I won't see you guys on Friday. I'm going to be enjoying my life, and I'm going to be chilling, and I deserve it because I've been through a lot in the last several years, a lot. And I'm going to enjoy some time off, and I'm going to try and do more of that as the days goes on, because the farther back I look at things, honestly, the better I feel and the higher the conviction I have on what I see and what I believe, because I'm not in the weeds. I'm hovering above them. And I think that's the mentality that we all should have in the not too distant future here, is we should not be focused on being in the weeds and about every news event of today. We should be focusing on the fact of what tomorrow brings, and a clear reflection of where we are today, and then a thorough study of history. So that's what I'm going to try and focus on. I hope you guys do too. And I'm very excited. I don't even know if this month will be great, Loss. I do think it probably will be. But I care about, like, is next year going to be great? And I think it really is. I think there's so many reasons for that. Yardini Research is a good one to look at too for that. But there's a bunch of others. I think I'm probably one of the best as far as pulling it all together and looking at a lot of really, really smart people and trying to work to understand what's coming next. So I love you guys. Let's get above 96.5 on Bitcoin, and then we can really have some fun. I think today will probably be a good day too, but if it's not, whatever, doesn't matter. Well, I'll see you guys later next Monday. Peace out, stay out of trouble, and thank you for that extra 20 there.